Your guys' Dow Jones has broken a support line very strongly, and your metals continue to keep rising. Let's keep looking at this overall view of the charts. Here we have TLT. You guys can see, you guys came up, hit the price target. Now you guys are having a pullback as expected when you hit a price target. It needs to reset because the market is kind of like a rubber band. You can pull it, pull it, pull it, and then it snaps back. And here's that snap back. Although it did gap down, giving you hope that there may be a reversal once it comes down and possibly hits the giant moving average. Here's your 2-year yield. Looks like you guys came up for a strong retest. It broke a little bit back in, but not confirmed. So we don't say it's going to go back in yet. It needs to have a full candle close back inside of this pattern to be able to say, okay, it didn't go that way. You guys can still keep going down. There is a somewhat of a channel pattern here that's on the screen. I'll draw it out if we get a full candle closing here to show you what I'm seeing. But as for right now, this pattern that's on the screen is still most likely to play out. Here's your 10-year yield. Looks like you guys broke that giant pattern and then is now retesting that line. If you guys get a full candle close back inside and then you guys come up and hit that giant moving average, then most likely you guys won't continue to keep falling out of the pattern. It will be what's called a false breakout, and you will actually come up and try to target the upper part of the pattern. Here's the S&P 500 on the daily time frame. Looks like you guys are still bouncing horizontally in here. Your wedge is trying to be a wedge still, so we'll keep leaving it up. And you guys are going to retest the breakout again, seems like, and then we'll see if you get a rejection or not. This will happen probably this week. Hopefully we'll find out if we break down. Although now since you have the support line down here, you guys also have to break that. And then you guys can expect a pullback, most likely down to the giant moving average. Here's your NASDAQ. Look like you guys also bounced off of the support line here. And then now can possibly come up and retest the pattern. Although you do have a form of resistance right about here. So it's most likely you gonna hit your head on that. Now will you break through? I don't know. You can, because you're still above the giant moving average. Still very likely. Here though, we just need to see what happens. It needs to break out of somewhere in some direction for us to be able to make a clean decision and prediction and be like, okay, we'll most likely go that way. Right now, it's kind of just going flat. It's very hard to trade flat. Here's your Dow Jones. You guys see here, would you look at that? You guys broke down out of the head and shoulders pattern. Now you guys want a down candle, which in this case would be a gray candle on my chart. For you guys, probably red because you stick with the standard colors, probably. And then you will have a nice strong down candle, and that will give you more confirmation that the Dow Jones will most likely have a sweet pullback down to the giant moving average, most likely, or to this price target. Both can happen because it can just chop its way down and then the giant moving average catches up to the target, but we'll see what happens. Here's your Bitcoin on the daily. Looks like you guys are still bouncing out of this pattern. Very, very weak breakout. Not confirmed, but it looks like your Bitcoin might try to go back up for a little bit if it confirms this breakout. It can just reject and test the bottom of the pattern again. So nothing yet on Bitcoin. Here's XRP. Looks like you guys are really, really fighting that support and maybe break through it at some point, hopefully. I want to read this chart more, so I really want it to break at some point so I can draw up something else on here. Here's your gold. Looks like it's struggling a little, but you guys are still heading higher. You guys still have the price target up here. You guys are most likely going to hit that price target. You guys do have a little bit of resistance down here, straight across, but gold can just power through that. But today's candle looks a little weak, so we might be running out of energy. But big factor is you are above the giant moving average, so you guys still have a whole bunch of support to the upside. Here's your silver. Looks like it's just hanging out at the top where it topped out before, and we may see a rejection, or it can still break out of this pattern. If you guys get one white candle that's very strong, like this one outside of this pattern, that's a break, that's a pattern break, and you will most likely hit the price target set. But currently, it looks like you guys are still making a decision. Now, if you like this analysis, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, maybe tell me something you personally want me to analyze. I'll do that for you. But overall, you guys have a market with a clean moving bond market. So your equities and indexes and metals and whatever is going to move pretty cleanly. There's going to be more volatility, which is very fun if you do day trading. And I will see you guys Wednesday.